Thank you very much for joining us today. So this is my colleague, William. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now? Okay, so first of all, we would like to thank to UOW Malaysia KDU Librarian and the Teaching Learning Department and Zek Hazim to arrange this session for sharing tips for successful publications. So, and also Dr. Yudi, our special speaker today, and share about his expert in publications experience with all the audience. So if let's say you have any question, please feel free to write your question on the chat. Then we will attend to your question after our presentation. So before I start to share with you about what is Emerald Publishing, right? Maybe I can share some additional information to all of you that actually we have Emerald East and Southeast Asia Facebook, whereby we have quite actively to conduct a free webinar to support some authors or researcher to share about for example, you can see we have just passed in February, how to improve your journal article acceptance rate and research productivity. And this webinar is conducted by our Emerald ambassador. You can see we have on and off have this kind of information. If let's say you do need get some publication tips or any information regarding publication paper, you may refer to our website. Okay. So today from my part, right, I will cover on what's Emerald Publishing. And then also I will share with you Emerald Journal collections and where, if let's say you would like to publish with Emerald, where should you go in our website? But first of all, just like to share with you all that, do you know that publish with Emerald is free? We have few road for our author to whether that you are going into journals or we have few routes for you to publish with us, journals, ebooks, or case study collection. And these all are free unless you are choose for open research. Okay. So, introduction to Emerald. What is Emerald? We are founded in 1967 in Bradford. So, we are medium size of publisher. So, our core subjects are in social science and management. So, currently in our database, we have 30 plus journals and 3,000 plus ebooks and teaching cases. So, you can see red highlighted like real impact. I believe that most of the authors or the researcher or scholar, they would know that now we are not talking about the paper citations. We are looking in the paper, what is the real impact or bring the positive change to the society. Okay, so United Nation SDG, and this is quite, I mean, you can often heard that the editor-in-chief are required the paper will relate one of the SDG goal. Okay. So under Emerald Publishing, right, this is our core products, e-journals. So under Emerald Publishing, we have 13 subject collections. You can see we have management e-journal portfolio, like business, accounting, marketing, HR, under management e-journal portfolio. And we also have specialist e-journal portfolio for the four types of collections: health, social care, education, library studies, and engineering. So we are proud to share with our audience that in under I mean in Emerald Publishing, right, we have 309 active subscription journals in total, but out of 309 active subscription journal, there are 295 journals receive a Scopus site score, so it will be equivalent 95% in Scopus, and 94 journals receive a JCR impact factor, and 196 journals are listed in ESCI. Okay, so for Emerald are a founding signatory of the United Nations SDGs Publishers Compact, which is designed to inspire action among publishers and accelerate progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. 2030. So there are four interdisciplinary goals that we are focused, like fairer society, healthier lives, responsible management, quality education for all. So let me share with you our Emerald journals database. So these are the 13 subject collections. If you add up the blue bar number of journals, it will equivalent to 309 active journals. So you can see our largest portfolio is under business management and strategy. The second largest is accounting, finance, and economic with 41 journals. So I will share with you some example like our business management and strategy collection, right? In total, we have 55 journals, and year to date, until 2021, we have 32,700 articles in this collection. So you can see out of 55 journals, we have 50 journal are in Scopus, and these are the topical coverage that you may need. For example, you want to publish a paper, you may need to match back to the topic coverage in the collection. So this is the information, like for example, you are writing a business leadership, project management. So this is under our business management and strategy portfolio. So we have more, information under our business management and strategy e-journal in our website. Later, I'm going to share with you where that you can find this all information, whereby you can see like highly downloaded paper, link to SDG articles, highly cited. So this is information that user can read it for your reference before you, if you need to find a journal with Emerald collection. So next, HR learning and organization studies. You can see in this collection, right, we have 25 journals. Year to date, we have 24,400 articles. And then you can see this is the topic coverage like leadership, team coaching, remote working. I think during MCO time, this collection, most user will be get more the reference on here when they would like to implement remote working. Then they will see what is the pro and cons from the articles. So like, for example, work-life balance, how they reduce the stress during MCO. So this is a article for them to for reading purpose. So next are accounting, finance, and economics. We have 41 journals, and out of 41, 38 journals are in Scopus. So the topical coverage are like risk management strategies, financial regulation. So after I share with you all the topical coverage, no worry, I will later share with you about our full subject collection where I come with the articles list, so that when you would like to publish a paper with Emerald, you can refer to our catalogs. So next is information knowledge management. This is more on the computer science collection. We have 12 journal and all 12 are in Scopus. So this is more on the topic like data analytics, Internet of Things, big data, 5G regulations, and online adoption and purchase behavior is under computer science collection. Operation and logistic and quality collection, we have 16 journals. So out of 16 journals are in Scopus. And then this is more on the topic like supply chain management, total quality management, lean operation or system reliability topical covered in this collection. So next, marketing. Marketing, we have 23 journals. And out of 23, we have 21 journals are in Scopus. Then you can see in marketing, we have like, I think this is quite new, like young consumer. Now the spending power, maybe in people would like to know what is the trend of young consumer spending. Maybe they will prefer on online purchase, or this is under young consumers topic, or maybe like branding, consumer behavior. So these all topic covered in marketing collection. Okay, so these are the example for Emerald Journals information. So next I will share with you how that you can get all the information via our website. If let's say you can go to your library portal that you get click into Emerald Insight. This is the database whereby you can access to Emerald resources. So for example, before you like to publish a paper, you need to read the paper for your reference. You can easily go into Emerald Insight here. So for example, I want to publish for marketing paper, then you can search here from this Emerald Insight. This website is available in the library portal. Then for example, I want to publish marketing. So for example, I want to find a journal, right? So you can go in here, then you can see all related title, or maybe I want to see for local contributor, then I can type Malaysia author, right? So you can search. So this is for your reading purpose. Before you publish a paper, you need to get some idea how to publish a paper, that you can refer to this database. So can you see on top here, right? Do have published with us. Okay, so for those already finalized a title that you would like to proceed to find a journals, right? You can go to publish with us, and this Emerald Publishing website do come with a lot of informations here. So for example, right, I would like to publish with us. You can see if let's say you want to publish journals, you want to publish book or publish case studies. So this is the place for you to find all the information. So for example, I want to publish for marketing, right? I go to find a journal here. Then my topic is related to, for example, young consumer. So maybe I go to marketing, right? So you can see in marketing, just now we have 25 subject collection. All the journal will appear here. So I will go for young consumer. So for example, I go to the last. Okay, so I want to publish a title related to young consumer. Now I'm finding a journal whether is suitable for my paper to publish in this journal. You can easily get all the information here, whereby you can get an overview, M and scope. I think this is very important, whereby you need to know whether your title is fixed into the journal M and scope. They will stated all the information here, M and scope. You can see here. Then you look at the editor's author guidelines. I think this is also important before you start to write a paper. Then you may go in here to read all the requirements. So you can see, for example, right, they will put very clearly the requirement for manuscript requirements, like format. What is the format? Then how many words that are required, so that you won't get the rejections. Your paper get rejected when you submit the first your draft paper. Not even go through the peer review. So you can get all the requirement information in this website. Okay. So if let's say before you choose the this journal, you may have some queries or any question that you need to ask, you can always go to editorial team here. So can you see here that we have they attach the publisher or editor-in-chief with the email, so that you can send your question to the editor before you submit the paper. Okay, so if let's say like indexing, you can see the indexing here. Is there any call for paper in these journals, right? So all the information you can get it from Publish With Us website here. Okay, so far any question regarding Emerald journals? Okay, so if you have no questions, then so basically I have shared all the Emerald journals information with you. So let me share with you about our speaker, Dr. Dr. Yudi. So, Dr. Yudi Fernando is an associate professor and the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Governance and Integrity at the University Malaysia Pahang. He previously held a managerial position in the electronics industry for several years and various admin positions in Malaysia public universities. Dr. Yudi is Vice President of the Society of Logisticians, Malaysia Pertumbuhan Pakar Logistik Malaysia, LOGM. He is a practitioner scholar who can convert research findings into product and production. He was recently granted the Gold Award in the International Invention, Innovation and Technology Exhibition ITEX 2023 and won the 2022 Emerald Literati Award for the outstanding paper. Okay, so let us welcome Dr. Yudi to our presentation. So, Dr. Yudi, I pass the floor to you.
Okay, thank you, Bernice. Wait a minute, let me share my slide. Okay, 1 minute.
Sure.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you see my slide now?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning. Thank you very much for UOW. I think Mr. Azim, Academic and Learning Center just now, and our colleague Bernice and William. Thank you for invited me to this webinar. Yeah, from our colleague from Emerald. So basically, I've been requested by our colleague William to share some tips, in regard to successful publication. This is not only from the text that we read and learned, but from our experience, our successful experience. I know that some journey have, sweat, tears, and so on and so forth. But don't forget, in everything that we do, we will gain, the success in the end. All right, so let me move the slide. So basically, what I wanted to share with you, first one, some of our junior colleagues are still not sure why they have to publish, or in fact, to our PhD candidate, student, and so on. Yeah, so they have no idea why, the university, why the faculty want them to publish more. Right. So these are some motivations why do you have to publish more. Another one is in regard to Literati Award. So I will share with you the success story and its publication journey. Then after that, move to what I call it as a OASIS approach. Yeah, so means that how do you guys plan your publications, and then how you organizing, accenting, controlling, and of course another one is improvement. Yeah, improvement means that when you get a feedback, and to the end, what you have to do, some of your paper might get, desk reject and so on and so forth. What you have to do next. And of course, you have to share your happiness with others, means that you share your paper with others, you promote your papers, and of course, this is for feasibility as well. And to the end, I would like to conclude with some tips, what you have to do next. Well, let me look at from two reasons. The first one, why we have to publish. The first one, from macro perspective, means that your contribution to your higher institutions, to your university, to your, to your faculty, and so on and so forth. So most of the time, our world university ranking being counted because of research and publications. Yeah, research citation is the biggest factor in determining, the world university ranking. It's about 60%. You cannot run away from the publication. If you wanted to be lecturer, there is no excuse to skip that you have not to publish. A publication is a must. perhaps we as a lecturer, we can say that our last name should be publication, paper, journals, or whatever you name it, right? So let me introduce to you the first, what we call it, the criteria of World University Ranking that come to volume, income, and reputation. That's about research. The first one, your university should have a good reputation in terms of research excellence, among the peers. So for example, like those who really good in marketing, who are the champion in this area? Which university have more scholars published on this? You can easily, sometimes people my really, we don't know them physically perhaps, but we read the names, the papers many times, in our research. So this can give a good reputation to our university. So the next one is research productivity. So you can see that the number of outcomes means that number of paper that you publish equal or ratio, with the staff numbers. So these always, come to the problem to the end of the year. For example, if let's say August, October, and so on and so forth, and deputy dean, or for example, the dean, or in fact, the publication director, they look at the performance of this. They start to worry what they have to do next. So that's why they have to tell, Bernice, William, hey, what we should do next? Can you help us? Can we network with somebody else that can help to give motivations to our lecturers? So perhaps I always tell during my workshop, talk, and so on, So our lecturers are expert, yeah. So no doubt on it. But the issue sometimes our lecturer lack of motivation. Why do they have to publish on that in this regard? And of course, the university have to get income. Income here in terms of research means that how much you secure the grant for the internal grant, external grant, and so on. Yeah. So against the number of staff, and of course, your institutions, your institution have have the staff that able to publish in top ranking. Yeah? So these are criteria that been given by Thomson Reuters. So another one about your research influence. Yeah, for example, like I always make joke among my colleagues. So when you publish your paper, then the worlds look like burgaga. Yeah? So it means they're shocking because of your paper and publication. Because why? Maybe your research is new, nobody want to talk about it, and suddenly you come out with this research, and you quietly do maybe in your lab, in your class, but you can produce something that good and become a flagship itself, right? So the number of time the university published work is cited by scholar globally. So that's why we have to promote our works. We have to, bring it wherever we go and so on. Yeah, you can discuss it and share with others. And of course, there is some condition that you have to share with others, right? So you have to follow some procedure, and spreading the new knowledge and ideas. Well, let me bring you a bit on the motivation. Why do we need to publish from the macro perspective? So you as lecturer, it's not only teaching. Last time when we discussed with Bernice, when he said that, oh yeah, I think I do agree, because the lecturer not supposed to teach in the classroom. The lecturer have to do more research and publication, because the research and publication, not everyone can do it. Yeah, they need to have a unique experience. They have to, knowledge and so on and so forth in order to publish and lead, some of innovation and explorations. So our task is to create the knowledge. Our task is to create something that we can share with the society, right? And after that, we been asking also to provide the services to the industry, to other peers, or for example, to other colleagues and so on. Yeah. So it means that we have to apply what the knowledge that we get, and of course, we have to disseminate it. Well, from the micro perspective, first one, I'm telling you, because we are doing research almost every day. We keep reading, we have to write something, we make it our research logic or not, right? So they can influence the way how we think and how we can influence others. For example, like you cite this guy, you have to read their works. For example, that can give, a better, I think, influencing factor. So you can also enhance the theory and research. And of course, education. Some of your research, perhaps you can bring it to the classroom. You can bring it and you share it with the student. Perhaps you share it in the seminar. So it's a part of education, training, and consultation as well. And the next one, of course, this in terms of the industry, yeah, manager, consultant, and of course, to the government. Surprisingly, I just stay in my university doing something quietly, but some invitation come from industry, from the governments to evaluate the grant, perhaps to be a panel here, panel there. So I believe that the governments and the society, the professional associations, also read my research, and they wanted to see me, they wanted to get my advice. So colleagues say publish or perish means that you want to stay or you want to leave, right? So the idea is publication is the way or showcase your academic talents, yeah. And of course, if you want to get a promotions, there is no way, yeah, you should have a publication. Some of the committee is very strict. They wanted to see that how much and how many, Q1, how important is your research, have you able to publish in the top journal, and so on and so forth. So they will look at as this, you as a corresponding author, first author, second authors, what kind, criteria that they set up. So every university, they have their own, of course, they have to follow, regulation from Ministry of Higher Education as well. And bring attention to the scholar institutions and also the number of publications as an individual credit, yeah, to see the competency. So you can see now people hiring the new lecturer, they might look at also their previous publication record. And of course, we want to choose the best, yeah, for our university, to our college, yeah, to get the best people to stay with us. And also, publishing has now become not just optional, it's a must, it's a mandatory. Yeah? So nobody now can run away from publication, yeah, including me, you, and everyone staying in this room. Well, let me bring you a bit to option here. I have a two option here. If you're given a choice, of course, the Emerald wanted to sponsor you, to have your own holiday. So you have two options. The first option, you will stay in a budget hotel. The second one, you will stay in a 5-star hotel. So which one that you would like to choose? So I can see that nobody want responded. Okay, so which one you prefer? You prefer to stay in a budget? Prefer to stay in a 5-star? Yeah, of course, the Emerald sponsor you, Bennis will sponsor you, William will sponsor you. Don't worry. For example, definitely most of you may tell us you would like to stay in a 5-star hotel. It's like us as a reviewer, we as the scholars, we wanted to see that the quality of papers from the 5-star perspective. We don't want you to submit to us. We don't want to write a papers which is like a budget paper. See, small here, less there, and somehow the paper also don't have integrations and coherence. Yeah. So what are the criteria? Let me share with you. I don't know if this is luck or what. Yeah. So I believe when Bernice sent me an email, I wanted this like, am I awake or I'm still dreaming or what, right? So so we want this. I don't know, is this a bless from the God or whatever, right? But we thanks Emerald and of course the editorial in that journal to choose our paper. This paper actually is not easily get published, and we thought that this paper perhaps to have a less feature, right? Because so many comment, we get a lot of comment. We've been request to improve this and that until we have feel like, oh, so just get some break, so rest about it, right? So this paper basically, if you can see, the journey of the paper is basically about about the 2 years, right? And we get the first revisions, yeah, in May, and after that also July and October 2020, and we revise again until we get good news 2020. We get a lot of feedbacks. They want to improve us in terms of methodology, the reasons, motivations, writing paper, and so on. So this paper returns by our first author is Ika, and then Datu Asna and myself. Yeah, and so far we gains a lot of citations from this paper as well. And you can see that when we come to what do you call that, sharing, promoting, thanks to our institutions, yeah, faculty, industrial management, they also actively promote this paper, and we gain more spotlight from our papers. So what we realized that what are the characteristics of Emerald Literary Awards? Yeah, first, you have to ensure that the topic that you choose is very important and critical. If your topic is not really important, how do we know that our topic is important? You look at that, just now Benny showed you about the Emerald website, you find any keywords, or you go to Google Scholars, you go to the Scopus, or Web of Science, you find your topic. If you're still using replication topic, replication measurement, the theory, and so on and so forth, I think that's less important for us to read. Yeah. So the second one, see the freshness of contents. I tell my students, sometimes the student wrote the old literature to support that, you know, in the old 90s, 20s. Yeah. So you are writing now in 2023. Perhaps you have to cite papers in 2023, and only diamond can cut diamond. I always tell students and other colleagues here when they write papers. Only diamond cut diamond means that only a quality papers that eligible to be cited. So it's a very important for us, yeah, to look at the citation as well and the freshness of content. The next one is originality, the novelty, contribution of the paper to the field. So you look at that, for example, if you're writing on marketing, what kind, you know, new in your area. For example, like now people wanted to have a cross, you know, disciplinary area, yeah, where you can produce more knowledge and new things. So this is a kind of contribution that you have to look at properly in your field. Yeah, you have to be expert in your field, and you cannot be anywhere. It means that today you write accounting, tomorrow you write finance, so on and so forth. But you should have your own roadmap. And the next one, I make sure that your method is sound and appropriate. Look at that, you know, carefully, the way how you wanted to collect the data, who are your respondent, you include the inclusive, exclusive criteria, sampling method, and so on and so forth. I think you guys expert on this, but you have to check. And the next one, the strength of argument. Some of us writing a papers without, you know, a good argument or proper arguments. So they want us to clarify and justify why we choose this. Whatever we say, you have to show with evidence, any reference that back up your statement. And of course, clarity and organizations, they wanted to see it, you know, whether you can tally all the right up together. And of course, you have to convince, use the evidence with a statistic, perhaps. Sometimes the research questions or the objective of your paper, it seems like doesn't tally with the analysis, with the methods, or perhaps you get the wrong respondent, means that it's not appropriate respondent to answer it, right? And you have to write a clear and concise. Always in the class or during discussion, we always tell people, if you wanted to write papers, you should give to somebody else to read. In fact, the good paper, you know, will be understood by your grandma when your grandma wanted to read it. So it means that your area need to be understood by others as well, right? In order to get better flow and clear and concise. And look at on your summary, whether you are discussing it, accurate and supported by the content. That's we realize that there's some of characteristic that we have in our paper. And of course, we as a reviewer, we as a, you know, some of us are matured and experienced authors. What we are normally look at the papers based on a 5-star criteria, I call it. The first one, look at the presentation, clarity, your report, language, you know, general presentation manner. Yes, of course, some of us might not really familiar to write English well, perhaps to write the academic writing, perhaps doesn't wrong, you know, something okay. That's okay when you write English and so on. But when the native read your English, they will be having a question marks. So you need to get this is clear in the first place. And the next one, integration and coherence. Make sure that all parts are together, connected and coherence. And don't forget to write contribution to the knowledge, originality and creativity. You know, I'm telling my student when they wanted to write papers, the first part that always people look at is the abstract. Yeah, abstract is look like you are simply summarizing what you wanted to say and what you've been done, but it's not that simple. You have to promote that what new, what is novel in your paper from the abstract and come to introductions. The introductions, you like as selling a product. You review what people say, what the people found it, what the product of the somebody else. And then after that, you compare and you look at that, what are missing from the existing one. And of course, you wanted to sell your ideas, right? You wanted to sell your product, right? Then you have to tell people, why do people have to choose your paper? Why the reviewer wanted to accept your paper? Give us the reasons, right? So this look at on the originality, and of course look at on the relevant of literature. Sometimes the literature review is not relevant at all. Talking about product, but you mix up with a service. You are talking about, sustainability. Perhaps you are talking something big, because sustainability, everything under the sky could be part of sustainability, right? You have to be precise and specific on that. Only relevance and up to date, and definitely come from the good journal. Perhaps you can get from the top journal as well, top publisher. It is a very important for you, right? And statement of the problem there. Yeah, for example, like your research gap and so on, and methods, inquiry adopted. Some of examiners or some of reviewer, they wanted to ask you in terms of methodology, what is new from your paper? Then you have to explain as well, right? And analysis of data, discussion, and outcome. Of course, all the criteria are complex. Nobody wants perfect. What we can do now, we can team up with somebody who really expert, for example, like writing, somebody who really experts in terms of data analysis. There's somebody who expert in terms of networks and so on and so forth, right? So these kind of people that we have to make sure they come and available in our team. So let me introduce to you the planning parts first. Before you start writing, or before you start planning to do research, apply a grant, so please ensure that which journal that you plan to publish. You have a first, second, third criteria or targets for the journals. And definitely when you already have a journal, normally we like to have a backward, right? Reverse, what they call it, reverse engineering. When we wrote a paper, then we start now to find which journal that can fit with us. That could be yes, could be no as well. But I would suggest to you, since the first target, you have to identify the journals and which journal that meets with your current papers, for example, or the current topics that you wanted to investigate later on. You look at the scope. I think just now, Emerald also tell us, there is some call for papers. Perhaps you can see that how many papers published on this topic and so on. What a current trend, for example, in Malaysia, in regard to the government policy, in regard to the issue in Malaysia, quite a lot. Yeah, so you identify the idea and also the journals. And I suggest to you, try to avoid the replications. I feel itchy in my body when my student come. And in fact, in the FYP student, when they come and give to me, replications topic, I feel like, oh, no, I'm not learning a new thing from you together. So we wanted to go through the academic journey that everyone can learn. I want to learn too. And of course, definitely you have to learn, right? And look at the number of issues, right? Some journal is very strict. They only have a 2, somehow 4, I think on average 4. But if you can get 6 or 12 per year, that means that more chance for you to get published. And duration of review, I think Emerald also kind of publisher who promote a lot. How many days or how many weeks on average? Yeah, the duration on the first decision. And next one is look at the editorial board compositions. I think you are familiar with some of them there. You can get advice, or maybe you can email wherever, if they have a time, definitely they will reply you. But I believe that some editorial boards, they are very nice. Yeah, they can reply your email. And you look at the sample of published papers. So if possible, if you wanted to publish on a methodological paper, you get one sample paper, and then you can benchmark. Yeah, this is a good way. Before you publish, before you submit, make sure that you fulfill this criteria. The first one, whether the journal are available within your research field, right? And then second one, the topic published the journal, look at the aims journal, and you look at also the scope, journal profile, rank. You can look at from the Scopus. Yeah, I think your research units suppose already inform you about this. And the type accepted paper, some papers, only up to review papers, means that they're collecting the review, the current literature review for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, right? So in order to tell people what people done in the past, current, and what are required in the future. And of course, the full research papers. There are quite numbers of type of papers that you can consider when you publish. Okay, then audience. You look at some journal, the target audience is not scholars, it's not academicians. Some journal, the targets professionals. Yeah, so you look at who are audience. And the next one you have to look at before you submit is the journal management, the time to review, and also publications, type of article that journal publish, what are majority the articles that they are published in the journal. And of course, everybody wanted to get a higher ranking, right? So everybody want to celebrate their success. Somehow, if you have a good impact factor. Impact factor doesn't mean that the paper is good in that area, but can show that how many time been cited and how influence this journal to that area. And of course, if you have some budget, you can consider APC as well. So you can share to anyone free of charge, right? When you pay for processing fees. I think you can look at from Emerald website for APC if you wanted to do so. Okay, the next one is organizing. That's another POASIS approach that I would like to introduce in this webinar. So there are some rules for us to understand about collaborative writing. Organizing means that it's not only about your time frames, about yourself, but also you have to consider other colleagues. There's some colleagues just want to have a boncengan gratis. Yeah, so we don't want to have boncengan gratis. Some colleagues, when they prepare the draft only like 30-40%. And after that, they pass to us and they want to continue anymore. So you can give options. Who will take a lead later on? You still want to take the lead? Yeah. And who else? Because the journal, when you miss the deadline, your paper will be rejected. Or they will start again as the new submissions. So this is something complex that less of us, especially the junior lecturers, the junior researchers know and understand the publication criteria, rules, and games, right? So we suggest to you, according to Frost, and friends, they say that build your writing team wisely. So we always get some, team members to prepare our publication. And who will take a lead? Who will organize? Who will contact later on when somebody doesn't meet, for example, doesn't meet the deadline, for example, cannot catch up this, or maybe they provide to you low quality write-up. So what you should do next, right? So the next one, maybe you can have like OneDrive, Google Drive, whatever. You create the data management plans over there, that you can put also some data so everyone can access the data, everyone can start to write papers and so on and so forth, right? But of course, you have to inform somebody, or I always tell my colleagues, when you write, so please highlight in the color, for example, like green, yellow, and so on. So we know that A will write in the, yellow colors, and B will write in red color. So you can see this. And of course, you decide about the authorship. As I told you, for example, one colleague maybe prepare 40%, or maybe without analysis, they gives you just raw data. And somebody only final touch up, but very influenced authors. So you have to mix, and decide who will be the authors for this paper. So you cannot simply that, oh, this guy is a prepared first, and then he should be the first authors. No, cannot be like this. Somebody just prepared 30%, 40%, then they just leave. Then who will continue this work? If you doesn't finish it, somebody will publish the same topic. So publication also about who will be the first one, who will the first one. Yeah, we are running time, so we have to publish and meet the criteria. And decide your writing strategy. I think some of our colleagues might tell us how to review, how to criticize, and how to cite. And after that, choose digital tools. Yeah, you can use a Mendeley, to, or many others, or perhaps Now you can use the Grammarly, I think many more, right? You can use it. Long time back when we start study and learning, these kind of tools might not really available for us. We have to go to the basement of library, and then we have to photostat, the papers or books that wherever that we want, right? But now it's different. So as long as your university, institutions get connected with the database, and then you can get it for 24 hours, right? And set the timelines, yeah, and then inform your team and be transparent about the process, right? It's normally Emerald will inform, the corresponding authors, or perhaps also CC to other authors on decision of your paper, and equity, diversity, and inclusions, right? So we want our paper written is not only from our own faculty members. We want our faculty members also to network with somebody in other countries, other institutions. Yeah. So this to improve our visibility and of course the university ranking as well. In terms of number of publication and network that you have. And you have to consider the ethical implications about the counterships. And when you accentuating it, you have to look at the presentation and clarity. I think this already highlight to you a few slides, before, but let me inform you again about presentation and clarity. Okay. Readers means that you, me, and everyone, when we read your first draft, they should able to read text without difficulties. So means that don't use the complex language. Don't use the difficult, jargons or whatever. In academic writing, you have to really understand what are the criteria there. Okay. So the second one, it should be clear and tell a story. Some of us may be very good in statistic, very good in methodology. You inform the people about your D value, P value, whatever value that you have, but you are not able to demonstrate, you're not able to tell us what are the story behind. Why you get this number, from where you get this number, what the number means. Sometimes you expect the table and figures explained by themselves. That's really not right, right? So what we want you to tell, to express what the numbers all about. Yeah. And your reference, please check your reference. Sometimes the reference, you forgot to put the volume, issues, and a page number, or sometimes you are having a typo on the authors. Yeah, you can get from Mendeley, of course, EndNote and whatever you can get it, or any manual also you can do. Yeah, this should be accurate and updated. Yeah, so the journal wanted to see you whether you cite certain years or perhaps particular journals, right? And of course, last but not least, in this stage, you have to able to find, about the submissions, where your tables, where you have to locate your figures and being able to cross-reference with ease. Yeah, in this stage. Controlling, I think I get this from Sounders. What the Sounders suggest to us when you already have a complete papers. These are some controlling stage. The first one, you have to check what I'm going to do with this paper, whether you already have it, like objective for your paper, and whether you already prepare, why you are doing this, and why critical to do this research, this topic, and why is this your research related to what the people done it in the same area. Okay, and then which theory will inform what you are doing and how you can use that theory itself, right? So these are some, I think, a checklist that you should have in your paper. And yeah, some journal, they only put research objective. But if you do a qualitative research, they want you to have a research questions, yeah? Then how do you inform people in regard to data collection? How do you conduct the research? And what is your research design, your type of data that you collect, right? You analyze, and who are your respondents? Yeah, and what are the criteria from your respondent? How you get access? Yeah, so this will be referred to your sampling technique. And how do you select them? Do you have some filter questions? Do you have some of criteria to look at on them? Yeah, and how do you collect the data from database, from email, from directory, you contact them, how do you also use the theory, how do you use the data to explain, your result, and also should be connected with your theoretical framework, theoretical explanations. And check with data quality issue, bias, quite a number of bias nowadays, not only common method bias, so many bias nowadays, primary, what I call that, early late response, quite numbers of bias that you have to double check and ensure that you able to overcome this. And ethical issues, some original want you to provide the ethical issue as well, or some request you to fulfill, I think, the declarations, whether this is original work of you doesn't submit to other journal as well, and so on and so forth. And how do you overcome this? These are controlling parts. And the next one, improvements and decisions. These are some major decisions that we normally received from the publisher, from the journal editors. So the first one, accept as it is, but it's a very rare. I think since my career in academics is about 17 years ago, I very seldom to get it. I think only once, I get it. It's like dream come true as well. So accept as it is, published in Scopus Journal. Not the high ranking, but of course, Scopus Index, we are happy enough, right, at the time. And except with the minor revisions, that's quite popular as well. But of course, not many people get it easily. And except with major revisions, it is according what the reviewer comment. So now I think publisher editorial board also have difficulties to get a good reviewer because everybody busy, so they cannot meet they cannot give a commitment to you, cannot meet the deadline and so on. And perhaps we somehow get free labor from a PhD candidates, junior lecturers and so on. But the chief editor will look at their comment. If doesn't really relevant, so they might chop that comment and give you another one, right? Or maybe find somebody else. And of course, revise and resubmit. The last one is reject. But somehow the way how we respond, the editors, is also quite critical. Some of us, especially the junior lecturers, they are too defensive when they get the comments, from the reviewer. A long time back, I have a colleague. Then my colleague is very scared to see a lot of comment, from our papers. Then I tell him, don't worry, let me close our laptop now. We go to Kedai Kopi, we drink a coffee together. And then after that, after you okay, I okay, then we open again our laptop, or we can print the comment, then we look at one by one. It's not as difficult what we look at the first time. After are we having a piece in mind? But don't worry about it. Of course, research and publication is a time consuming, that might take maybe 23 or 25 hours, 27 hours if you have extra time per day, so it's a very challenging. I think very less people are committed enough to spend their time, to get their work published. Integration and coherence, that another parts that you guys have to look at, and make sure that you write, good, easy to understand, and have logical and rational links between one component to others. For example, like whether your abstract has, related to introductions, literature review, method, result, and of course the implications. And coherence can be obtained by reviewing what the people already done before. It can be part of literature review, so it should be one, you have to build ones from one you point to others, right? So try to connect it and make sure that it has a sound appropriate and get connected one to another. Okay, so last two slides that I have. I hope that I can meet the I think the time given to me. The last one is sharing for feasibility. I managed to get it from Elsevier. I think some of our colleagues now, researcher, they are not only good in writing paper and publishing papers. They have to be good as a marketer as well, like our colleague William and Bernice, yeah, or Yazim just now, so they can promote papers, publication, and so on outside there. So whenever you go, for example, your conference, you can bring your papers, you can share with people. Yeah, I think very less people practice it, but I noticed it. Some colleagues in Europe, when they attended the conference, they also bring along their papers. Yeah, so they can give. Last time, Emerald, when I'm not mistaken, 10 years back or maybe 12 years back, when you publish in their journal, they will send you the hard copies. Yeah, so you can bring it. Last time, I still get hard copies, and I get the what do you call that, I can't remember. I got a pin also from Emerald when we successful publish our papers. And the classroom teaching purpose, of course, we bring to the classroom and we ask the student to review it. Somehow you can bring it as a part of your final exam question as well, right? You look at this, how the people give feedback, especially case study. You can give this scenario, what decision makers, you as manager, what you have to do when it comes to these situations. And you can apply the grants. Some of the criteria, perhaps from external grant, they look at that, whether you are Provilix, what I call that, researcher. Yeah, do you have paper published the same area with what you applied? And with your colleague, of course, you can tell, oh, if you wanted to run this kind of analysis, you can benchmark my paper. If you wanted to write good paper, can you please read my papers? Yeah, bukan nak tunjuk, ya, but you can share. Okay, then preprint saver also you can share with others. And if you have a blogs website, you can share with us. And our institutional, we have on repository, yeah, so everyone can download it. Of course, when they have, they subscribe with Emerald or other publishers as well. But abstract, you can get it for free. And this is very famous nowadays. Many researchers, good scholars now promoting their works on their social media, or perhaps in the group, in scholar groups. Some of members will get informed, about statistical group or whatever. So you can promote in your IG or perhaps TikTok. I'm not sure whether have some scholars promote their work in the TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitters. Yeah, so you can share 50 days for free access. It's normally a very fast one, and 50 days free access is actually very fast. Yeah, when you give the link, then sometimes the link is already expired because too many people download the paper if your paper is good enough. Right, it is some key takeaway. Will be last slide that I have today. You have to check again whether you already done something new. So means the keyword here, you have to do something new. Means that you have to take lead, not to wait somebody else or not to replicate. And the second one, you look at that. Any things that challenge in your work, you have to state it clearly. You can put it in your limitation, for example. You not always say, cannot get data and whatever. So people want to see this. Maybe other challenge that you encounter. So you can put it in your paper as well. Later on, people will cite this and become their research gap. Research gaps. Yeah. And then look at whether your result can influence other researchers. Sometimes we get the data, but the data is not good. Yeah, the data is not good. The result is not good. And we cannot publish also this result. Of course, some people say that, hey, why not you publish? Sometimes the negative result can give also different point of view. But if you look at if 20 years back, 15 years back, or everybody almost show that is consistent finding, means that a positive and significant relationship, suddenly you have a negative and insignificant. There's something wrong with your methodology, something wrong with your procedure. Yeah? And have you provided solutions, some difficulties or the problems, then research gap, a government issue nowadays, a policy, about, I think Bernice mentioned about SDGs and ESGs and some of popular keyword that nowadays the researcher have to look at. And have you demonstrate a clear, easy to understand write up in your papers, and try to tie it, the result discussion and make, they are connected each other. So I think that's all. Thank you very much. I hand over again to our colleague Bernice here.
Thank you, Dr. Yudi, for sharing your insight information with all the audience. So maybe we can open the floor to our participant. Is that they have any questions?
Good morning to all.
Can hear you.
Okay, we're sitting on the long bench. It's on the other side. Yeah, I think the participants today quite shy. If there's any questions from the floor, from the participants today itself, if there's any question from the participants, do voice out that. If not, if that, I'll start off first. Dr. Yudi,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning, William. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Well, first off, there are two things that I would like to ask you, whether personally or during this particular session. The very first one would be that I understand you are also the editor in chief for the for the journal that you are holding in the University of Malaysia Pahang. Me myself, well, you know us in the MRO. We also get connected with the editors. We also would like to support the journals, the authors base, and to, like what you said earlier. I really like what you say regarding about the peer review. You did mention that the editorial role would give chances, would not try to reject that. I have been in this talk with some editors as well. Example, Prof. Mark from Sunway, and he did mention that it's the editorial role, is the responsible editor to not to actually reject, but to always, give them the sufficient reasons and references and support so that they can actually revise and come back. My questions to you will be that, Dr. Yudi, how do you how have you, what have you done in managing so well for your journals in UMP?
Okay. Thank you, William, for the questions. So basically, we have a dreams, in our faculty, and of course, been assigned to some tasks by our boss, the dean and TDR and so on, to bring our local journal to the higher levels.
Right.
It's not that easy to manage a journal, especially when we don't have enough, people to manage the journal directly. We don't have, marketing teams, and we don't have, strong editorial teams. And our journal is quite new, when we established in 2017, when I'm mistaken. So since the journal started, I already involved. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is our baby. That how we manage.
Wow.
For the first time, when we publish the paper or we promote to others, there's a very less, people interested to publish with us, because our journal don't have any index, as you know. Now people will say that whether your journal have a Scopus or not, whether they are now my site, and so on and so forth. So what we did so far, I think our TDR helping us to promote it to such conference, whoever wanted to publish with us, so they can send the paper for us to review. And somehow we get, some people might look at that local journal can publish is a Cap Ayam paper, so they are wrong. So we
No,
Cap
they are
Ayam
wrong.
means, sorry, so means that no quality also been rejected. So many journals they submit to us. No, we check the quality criteria as well, because we wanted our journal to get published and to be indexed as well in the Web of Science or the Scopus. So we have to meet the criteria. And now also Malaysian Citation Index, they are very strict. We have to comply with the many things. So I do agree with you. We always give chance to our authors, potential papers to for improving their works, at least to meet the quality criteria, the certain quality
Right.
criteria. We might don't really have a high compared than William and Dennis Journal, for example, right? But of course, the certain criteria they've been set up by Ministry of Education, you know, we have to
Right.
fulfill. So
Right.
so far, we are okay managing the journals, and we, of course, the networks, we go visit Evan Lau somewhere in Unimas, how do they manage,
Yes.
and we meet some colleague, and we also network with them, teach us how to
Yes.
do it. And that's the way how we bring our journals. Sometimes, you know, up and down, you know, sometimes we are having a good motivation to drive our journals, but sometimes we feel like, oh, we are too small, we cannot do this, I cannot do that. I think that's
Well,
how we manage lah until today.
well said for you. For for our participants that may not realize the challenge here and also the difficulty in managing a journal, the pressure to really lead a journal, or to say to start a journal, or to lead a journal, to run a journal, is tremendous. It is not it is a glamorous title to have, where you have to spend a lot of time, efforts, and so many other things. You also have to, in some instances, have to beg for authors to actually submit, or to actually
Yes.
get good reviewers to actually review the quality submission of that. So what you mentioned is, yeah, I feel you.
Yes, yes,
my
yes.
my second questions, before I move on to two questions from the chat.
Okay.
The second questions would be following on the first questions. Dr. Judy, with all departments today, I believe quite a number of participants today are students. There are also academics that joining us in this session today. Would you consider, would you be open for collaboration, or perhaps a special issues in the journal that actually managing? So if yes, what kind of special issues? Is there any topic in the mind or topic interest that could be discussed further, so that dear participants, if you wished to have I would not say in depth, to have more experience in publications, to have a successful publication journey, my personal advice would be, please get to get to know the journal editors. That's definitely. Then the other one is to get more to involve yourself with some experience. Example, being a special issues guest editor, or being a reviewer for a journal. I'm very, very sure it will help to improve your writing skills. Why do I say that? Because in Amoro, we also organize what we call a review writing workshop. It's actually for authors. The purpose is that we want the students, we would like the students, we would like the participants that join us to think, to wear a different hat, to think as an editor. When you are given a manuscript, how would you review this paper? With that particular experience, we hope that that would lead you, that would guide you, that would improve your writing skills as an author in the further. So I'm so sorry, I'm so long-winded.
It's okay, fine, no
Okay,
problem.
questions. Will you be open for any collaboration or any
Yes.
SI? Yeah,
Yes,
please.
yes. Yes, thank you, William. Of course, as I think part of the editorial team, we are very welcome. Yeah, if our colleague or some of student interested to propose any special issues, then you can write to us. You know, you can prepare your proposals. What kind of special issue that you wanted, especially in this topic, because the governance is like sustainability. You know, very wide. So you have to
Yeah.
narrow down which area that you want to touch, and why is this area necessary, right? You can write for us, and we can consider in our meeting. We can propose to our our editorial teams, faculty,
Right.
and also university as a part of SOP that we have. And we are welcome. And I do agree with William say just now, you guys have to, if possible, be a reviewer. Then you can learn how others write and prepare a paper as well. And normally, as editorial team, what we did was we look at on our database. Yeah, so we look at that whoever already submitted, whether they are successfully accepted or successfully rejected, or still can consider them as long as the expertise is there, so we can invite them. And we also have some homeworks. Those who are really expert, we can invite them to be our reviewer, to be our mentor as well. So you guys, if you feel that you wanted to publish with us, we are my side. At least, you know, can fulfill your PhD criteria. You know, you can pass. So can count it in Myra. This is very important. So you can submit to us. If you already have some experience, well, you can go to the higher level. Perhaps you can go for Emerald.
Yeah, well, even though I'm from Emerald, to me, you know, journal, I would cherish more the journey, the experience, and also the learning curve itself. Journal to me is, you know, it's just a different journal publication. Right. With that, let's move on to some questions. Let's start with Karen. Karen asked questions on the chat. How to guide student to start and engage in publication? What is the first step? You know, as a start. What do you think, Dr. Yudi?
All right, thank you, William. It's a good question, Karen. Thank you so much. First, we have to identify first what kind of student. You are supervising doctorate candidates, master student, or FYP, undergraduate, right? So every stage, you know, they have their own different complexity. All right. Normally, what we did was in the past, we have our own session. That means our group, you know, consists of 10, 15 students under supervision, for example. So each student every week we assign to read a papers. So you come out and bring, you know, every month or perhaps every 2 months to meet up and tell us what is new, what is different, and perhaps you present to us. It's not only, you know, about the topic and also about the methodological issue. You know, you can see some friends, they are very good and very strong in methodological paper, in statistic. So you go ahead with that. So what I can suggest, if Karen, you are having a PhD candidate, perhaps the first thing you ask them to look at that, what is new, what is original, and your student have to be, I think, to be have some knowledge on how to find the articles, how to get a good papers, attend, you know, library or any webinar being organized by Emerald. That's a good free of charge. Why not? You ask you and your student to attend it. It's a good idea. So you can also prepare, you ask your student to prepare, for example, like a systematic review. You know, nowadays it's very popular. Everybody do it and publish it. So you can consider this as well. And the second one, you choose the niche area that you want to be there right now. So for example, marketing is a very big, green marketing, perhaps still big. What else, you know, on the that area. So the PhD student is different, you know, some engagements should be there. And that's also very challenging to supervise a PhD student nowadays. Most of them are part-timers. They cannot be with us. But last time, you know, you can organize during the weekend, but now family commitment, work commitment, right? So sometimes the student free, you cannot deliver sometimes. So you can having like online, you know, or your student can visit you anytime. So my advice to you, Karen, ask your student to do systematic review and find, you know, any feature directions from the review of literature. You can attend, you know, a webinar from Emerald, or perhaps your university have their own. And second one, you can advise a regular meeting. Perhaps you send them to the conference as well, so they can present their ideas, or perhaps they get the feedbacks. Yeah, sometimes they come back to you with a set face. It's okay, no problem. It's a part of the journey. Yeah, so inform them and revise it again. And last time, I still remember my time when I met my supervisor. My supervisor always reject my proposal. And he said, oh, it's not in our PhD yet. It's not doctor yet, and so on and so forth. I feel sad. Of course, definitely. I want to change my supervisor because he rejected my proposal. But in fact, he challenged me to come up with something new. He trained me. You know, you maybe complain, you know, at the time, but now you realize that how important this part. So you can train your scholars for PhD candidate in the same way, attend a conference, writing a paper, submit, you know, concept paper to the journal. Some journal, they're kind enough to read the concept papers. If really interesting and okay, then fine. Some conference, they wanted to publish it in the conference proceeding, but we try to avoid this actually. We want to attend a conference that can meet a lot of top people there, and then you can discuss. And I still remember I attended one American Marketing Association conference in Europe, and we have a mentor and mentee over there. So you can have, the senior editors to be your mentor. Why not? You can plan for this for your student. Master is different. I think the degree FYP also different. Yeah. So I think I answer the Karen questions. William?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you have your answer actually covers everything. I
Yeah.
wanted to add on. I couldn't find a a point to actually add on to that. What Karen mentioned, Karen actually add on in the chat. At the bottom, she said it's actually for FYP.
Oh,
But
FYP.
I'm FYP, but I'm sure you have covered that as well. I
Yeah.
hope that answers to Karen. If you need more elaborations, please either you can voice out or you can put it into the chat. On following on that, if I may, Dr. Yudi, if I may,
Yes.
I would like to ask you regarding about SLR, systematic literature
Yes.
review.
Yes.
It is a very subjective question.
Yes.
Would you think SLR has a higher publication acceptance rate?
Well, I think maybe 3 years back, 4 years back, okay. But now the journal is a very, what do you call that? As of, they're very strict in terms
Right.
of systematic review.
Yes.
Sometimes what do you present it in your paper is unclear.
Yes.
What actually you show to us, what the result is talking about. When you
Right.
show the result is different, you discuss it different. So be
Right.
careful with systematic review, yeah. Especially when they have some software to analyze the data and so on. Sometimes you have to also careful about the keyword that they include. And maybe some reviewer, they are not familiar with that techniques. They might say that
Right.
okay, betul. But if
Yes.
you get somebody who's really expert and carefully can check this, they can spot the mistakes. They can spot
Right.
the flaws there. And
Correct.
I noticed that some colleague, successful publish on that, and they claim they're expert on that. It's like methodological things. It's like techniques.
Right.
They have their own trend. Perhaps
Yes.
this current 5 years, okay, everybody talking about it. And if
Right.
somebody else or everybody do it, same things, what will happen next? I think
Yeah.
that will be, I think, no more relevant, no more new, no more interesting. Yeah, so we
I see
learned
the
it,
same
I
thing.
think, yeah, I learned about 10 years back when we assigned my PhD student to look at the software. Some software we have to pay, some software, free software. Free software, I think it's not really reliable, but yeah, if
There's a
people not
limitations to
really,
it lah.
yeah, there's some limitation, but people still can publish it.
Yeah.
But William, my advice lah, if if anyone would like to publish systematic review papers, if you combine with other methodological or procedure, then it'll be fine. Maybe you can include a case study, maybe you can include a qualitative one to support the finding, that would be good enough.
Idea.
Yes, then the
Good
journal
idea.
might consider it as a novel,
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Of course, you have more experience onto it. Previously, when I see that SLR has, what you mentioned, has much more submissions, coming from SLR in previous year. It's getting top now. It did not decrease. The submission for SLR did not decrease, but the acceptance rate seems to be lower. Yes, because what you mentioned, the criteria, the quality, and people that really rigorously checking into it. So that's make SLR publications are more and more less available out there. Right. Moving on, I should not elaborate more on that. Second question is from Faiz Azizo here. Faiz Azizo. For Azizo question would be, could you share some of the primary challenges you face in your role as an academic writer and as editor-in-chief for academic journal? I think that should be the part one. Second, additionally, could you provide some advice for individuals who aspire to reach a similar level of expertise and impact in the field? Right. That's a good question.
Right. Good question. Faiz, thank you. William, let me answer these questions. The primary challenge is you, me, right? Ourselves. So it's the big enemy that we have to tackle. Why? Sometimes time management. Yeah. So for example, like when you busy, you have a lot of, for example, assignment given by your faculty. You know, there's a very difficult for you to do something else. You cannot collect your data, or you depend much on the student. Student, you can see some student is very committed. Yes, they deliver. Some student you have to wait until you have a gray hair, until they come out with the data collection, for example, with the papers. Perhaps 2 years to wait then to complete one papers. And you cannot do anything when they give to you, and the topic is already expired. I mean that obsolete. So people already publish it. What you can do next? You cannot do anything, right? So this a challenge is me, you, ourselves, how to manage our time, and definitely also it's about routines, right? Every champion they have their own routines. You have to do every day, Faiz. There is no excuse. You don't have a chuti time to read. You don't have chuti time to write your own papers. So you want to be expert in that area, you have to be focused and specific. Let's say you wanted to be halal logistic expert. So study about halal logistic, halal marketing, halal Sari Aziz, halal day, and so on. So you can be expert in this field. Nobody one can tipu you, cheat you anymore. Even your student not there to tell something new, something, novel in your research, because you're expert, right? So you do it every day. So editor also, we need a commitment to manage. But lucky when we have our editorial team, for example, managing director and so on, a committee to look at this. So sometimes when you're busy, you can leave to them, and so on and so forth. So chief editor basically not managing everything, like chief editor only to make decision. Yeah, managing editor play very important role. Okay. Okay, I think
Yeah,
yeah.
well said, well said.
Yeah.
You determine the route, your way of life and what you wanted to achieve,
Yeah.
in your own journey itself. Very well said into it. What you actually when you first mentioned on, when you first giving your first examples on that, you actually reflected me. I was invited to student Viva presentation, and the panel of interviewer, they do ask questions on what drive you to choose this particular topic. What makes you choose this particular research? I can tell you, not many people can answer that uh beautifully. Sorry,
Yes.
in the
Yes.
perfect, yeah. So yeah, you have to be getting your own. Last question, by
Okay.
Theo. Good morning, Dr. Yudi. Do we need to get approval from the publisher to share our published work at ResearchGate and social media? If we did not subscribe their open access services with charges, kindly advise. Thank you. I think that should be the one question. What do you think,
Yes.
Dr. Yudi?
Okay. Thank you. Let me quickly answer this. I think our Emerald colleague have I think the more information about this.
Yeah.
I think in Emerald, they have their own policy. You can
Yep.
share according to a few. I think some condition. Yeah, I think the term and condition you have to look at. You can share, but they will give you like what do you call it? The green. What I can't remember exactly the words.
Yes, the green.
Green.
The green open access,
Yes, yes,
which
yes,
is green
yes.
OA.
So means that you can share your work in the draft versions. It's not in the
Exactly.
final one. So means
Exactly.
that maybe the draft accepted draft, maybe you can share. But you can log, you can share individually. Is different. It's up to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you follow the ethical procedures and some procedures and that should be okay. But if if you did something unethical one, the publisher will ask you take down your papers. Yeah, that happened. Or maybe they just delete because you already violence, the regulation. Because
Right.
once you agree, you sign the agreement, right? Before your paper published, right? So you have to follow whatever you already agreed before. I think that's all, William, Bernice,
Yeah.
what I can
Yeah.
share to our colleague
Yep.
today.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I just wanted to write on to what Dr. Yudi mentioned.
Yes.
Do check with each publisher. Each publisher has different terms and conditions for their paper to be available in normally what we call open access repository, or maybe in your own share drive ke, ataupun in your faculty share folder ke dan sebagainya.
Yes.
But in general, what Dr. Yudi mentioned is correct. You are normally you are not allowed to save. You do not allow to save a copy of the final article. you are allowed normally to share a copy of your the green open access, which is normally previously it's actually known as final author copy. The final author copy. So what is the difference between final author copy and also the published copy? In Emerald, the difference will be that in the Emerald copy, you're going to find the Emerald logo, probably even the issues and the page numbers. While in the final author copy, probably you have seen your title, your author's name, institution's names, probably even the journal name, but you will not see the logo. The logo normally does not include it. Usually you do not also see the issues or even the page number. So this is the to give Theo some examples into it. So yeah, well said. I really love Dr. Yudi, your sharings and explanation. Dr. Yudi and the organizers, thank you for the insightful sharing and feedback. Have a great day. Thank you to you, Theo. I think we are coming into the final sessions right here. Before we all, Hazim is back, man. Before we all left the sessions, I would like to get all the participants, if you're allowed, if your condition allows you, and if your handphone or the laptop has the webcam, do turn on the webcam. Let's have a group photo before we left, and that should be it. So yep, I shall turn off my chat. Do turn on your webcams to just have a group photo. And of course, thank you all for joining these particular sessions. I could not say thank you enough to Dr. Yudi and also to Hazim, to the teams in making this event successful. I feel I could not make it in the early session, hence I got Bernice to to help me to introduce Emerald in the earlier few minutes. If there's any more questions regarding about Emerald Journal in specific, do reach out to us. If you like to network in terms of in the topic of corporate governance, in the topic of governance and integrity, please, Dr. Yudi is your best mentor already. I'm not going to say too much. You know me, I probably cakap banyak, too long-winded lah. With that, I will just going to ask everyone to keep your smiles. And I shall take a picture in 1, 2, 3. Yeah, keep your smiles. 1, 2, and 3. All right, I've got that. I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. Any last word from you, Hazim and Dr. Yudi?
Again, thank you, Ms. William, Dr. Yudi, and Bernice for your time today. I think
Thank you.
It's good, very good for insight for our staff and also from other institutions that attended today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, with that, then I will then just just want to say thank you all for joining once again, and with that we shall end the sessions. See you all in the next sessions with Hazim and also with Dr. Yudi again, of course with our colleague Bernice. Right, cheers. Have a good Friday. No. Yeah, have a great day.
Good day.
Weekend ahead.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.